True strength lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we do. Lucas's story teaches us that love, sacrifice, and resilience can turn even the darkest nights into mornings full of hope. Stay with us till the end. Lucas sat at the small wooden table in his kitchen, his hands rough and calloused from endless nights of scrubbing floors. The clock struck midnight, and while the world outside slept, he was preparing for another long shift as a janitor. The bills stacked neatly in front of him were like silent reminders of the battles he fought every day. Rent, electricity, school fees, each paper carried weight heavier than his tired shoulders. Yet, when he looked at the two small rooms down the hallway, where Emma and Ryan lay sleeping peacefully, his heart softened. His life had not been easy since he lost his wife 3 years ago. Overnight, he became both mother and father. He cooked, cleaned, worked, and tucked his children into bed. Some nights, he sat in silence, staring at the empty chair across the table, missing the warmth of his partner, but never letting his sorrow show to his children. Lucas's job paid little, barely enough to cover the basics. Many nights, he went to bed with an empty stomach, convincing himself that he wasn't hungry, just so Emma and Ryan could have full plates. When his co-workers bought lunch at the cafeteria, Lucas quietly ate a slice of bread he had brought from home. But no matter how hard life pressed him, he never let his children feel the weight of his struggles. Every morning, he woke them up with a smile, prepared their school bags, and whispered, "You can do anything in life if you stay kind and strong." His words were steady, even if his body trembled with exhaustion. To Emma and Ryan, their father was a superhero, always present, always loving. They didn't know about the bills, the skipped meals, or the nights he walked home in the cold because he couldn't afford the bus fare. They only knew the man who kissed their foreheads, told them stories before bed, and held their little hands tightly as they walked to school. For Lucas, the sacrifices didn't feel like burdens. They were acts of love, silent promises that no matter how tough life became, he would always give his children the best he could offer. The morning sun peeked through the curtains as Lucas tied Emma's braids and helped Ryan button his shirt. As always, he knelt to check their shoes before they left for school. That's when he noticed the worn-out soles of Ryan's sneakers. The rubber was peeling, and small holes had started to form near the toes. "Dad, it's okay," Ryan said, pulling his feet back quickly. "I can still wear them. They're fine." But Lucas's heart sank. He knew the truth. His son was embarrassed, trying to hide the fact that his shoes were falling apart. Lucas smiled, masking his worry. "Strong shoes for a strong boy, huh?" he joked, ruffling Ryan's hair. But inside, he was already calculating how he could afford a new pair. The week's paycheck was already stretched thin between rent and groceries. Buying shoes meant sacrificing something else, but his children's dignity was worth any price. That night, after his shift, Lucas walked past the shoe store downtown. Bright displays shone through the window, rows of sturdy sneakers lined up neatly. He pressed his hand against the glass, imagining Ryan's face lighting up when he'd get a new pair. The price tag made his stomach tighten. It was more than half a week's groceries. Instead of turning away, Lucas made a quiet decision. He'd work an extra shift, even if it meant less sleep. He would eat less, if that's what it took. His son would not walk into school with broken shoes. The next week, Lucas surprised Ryan with a box wrapped in old newspaper. "Open it," he urged. Ryan tore it open and gasped when he saw the new sneakers, blue and white, just like he had once admired in the store window. "Dad! How did you?" Ryan's voice cracked as he threw his arms around his father. Lucas held him tightly, smiling through his tired eyes. "Because you deserve it, son. You always will." That night, as Ryan placed the shoes carefully by his bed, Lucas felt the weight of his exhaustion melt away. For him, every sacrifice was worth that one smile. The weeks passed in a blur of work and worry. Lucas juggled double shifts at the factory and late-night deliveries for extra pay. His body ached, his eyes burned with fatigue, but he never allowed his children to see the storm within him. To them, he was steady and unshakable pillar. But inside, cracks were forming. One evening, after putting Emma and Ryan to bed, Lucas sat at the kitchen table staring at a pile of unpaid bills. The numbers blurred as tears welled in his eyes. He pressed his palms against his face, trying to silence the voice in his head that whispered, "You're not enough. You'll never be enough." The refrigerator hummed in the silence, its emptiness louder than any sound. Lucas thought about the sacrifices, skipping meals so his kids could eat, pretending his stomach wasn't growling, wearing the same old jacket while his coworkers talked about vacations and new cars. He clenched his fists, fighting back the frustration boiling inside him. For the first time, he allowed himself to cry. His shoulders shook as quiet sobs filled the small kitchen. He had carried his burdens silently for so long, but tonight the weight was too heavy. Then, he felt a small hand on his arm. Ryan stood there in his pajamas, sleepy-eyed but concerned. "Dad, are you okay?" Lucas quickly wiped his face, forcing a smile. "Yeah, buddy. Just tired." But Ryan didn't believe him. He climbed onto his father's lap, resting his head on his chest. "You don't have to be strong all the time, Dad. You've got me and Emma. We're strong too." Those words pierced through Lucas's despair like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. His son, just a boy, was offering him the strength he didn't know he needed. Lucas hugged Ryan tightly, his tears falling freely now but no longer from hopelessness. In that moment, he realized that being strong didn't mean never breaking, it meant finding the courage to keep going, even when broken. And he wasn't alone. Morning came with a soft golden glow through the kitchen window. Lucas rose earlier than usual, not because of work, but because his heart felt lighter. The words Ryan had spoken the night before still echoed in his mind, "You don't have to be strong all the time, Dad. You've got me and Emma." For the first time in months, Lucas allowed himself to slow down. He cooked breakfast pancakes with the last bit of flour in the cupboard and laughed as Emma and Ryan fought over who got the biggest one. Their laughter filled the small house with warmth, reminding him that happiness wasn't measured in wealth, but in moments like these. Later that week, Lucas's boss called him into the office. His hard work and dedication had not gone unnoticed. "Lucas, you've been carrying more than your share," the boss said, sliding an envelope across the desk. Inside was a promotion letter and a pay raise. Lucas's hands trembled as he read it, his eyes misting over. This wasn't just money, it was a lifeline, a sign that his struggles were beginning to turn into opportunities. That evening, Lucas sat with Emma and Ryan on the porch, watching the sun set. "You know," he said softly, "life will always throw challenges at us. But we're stronger than we think. And as long as we have each other, we'll never be truly poor." Ryan leaned against him with a proud smile. Emma squeezed his hand. In their eyes, Lucas wasn't just a father, he was a hero. Not because he never struggled, but because he never gave up. As the sky turned from gold to deep purple, Lucas felt a quiet peace settle over him. He realized that the measure of a man wasn't in how much he had, but in how much he gave. And he had given his children everything: love, sacrifice, and a belief in tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more motivational videos.